What is the dumbest thing you've ever heard? My dad once told me that the reason why his relationships with his ex-wife, my mom, and his new girlfriend fell apart must be because they were both the same zodiac sign. No, Dad, I think it's because you cheated on them. I've posted this before, but what the hey, my aunt said Dutch people are from Denmark. I told her people from Denmark are Danish. The Dutch are from the Netherlands. She was like, no sweetie, those are Neanderthals. I was in the back seat at night and I noticed that she was driving with the high beams on. When I warned her, she said, "The high beams are for the highway." I was talking to a woman at a friend's barbecue who thought Albert Einstein invented gravity. And that by physically writing his equations for it backwards, we could unlock the secrets to levitation. A girl I used to work with was pissed that her boyfriend only bought me 12 roses. He wouldn't even go all out for a dozen. What a jerk. My step-granddad's son-in-law went by slick. His feats of stupidity were too frequent to fully enumerate here, but some highlights include his belief that cough drops only work indoors because the medicine they contain is neutralized by outdoor air. His attempt to house and leash break an armadillo in an effort to impress his fancy cousins. His remark that the town wasted money replacing an obviously dilapidated bridge because it's been there for years and years. If it was going to collapse, it would have happened by now. Went to college in LA, oftentimes you can see Catalina Island from the beach. Girl I knew thought it was fucking Japan. Heard a woman talking about how she had just been to Morocco and how amazing it was. She then immediately started talking about how she had never been to Africa, but would love to. Seems very strange that someone would book and go on a holiday without at any point checking where in the world they are going. What's Obama's last name? Watching Lord of the Rings with someone. So this was like a really long time ago, huh? Is David Attenborough that guy that believes in evolution? I worked in a coffee shop and someone asked me for a double espresso without water. I made him a double and served it to him. He said that has water in it. I was so confused I just put coffee grounds in the cup. Got a disciplinary for that. Dinosaurs are just made up fairy tales. It wouldn't be so bad, but we live in London with a natural history museum with full-scale dinosaurs there for people to see. One of my co-workers is a flat earther. The dumb thing about it is we are surveyors. Our job involves adapting data from a planar view flat paper maps to an ellipsoid geoid model GPS. The whole idea of satellites falling towards Earth through space, thereby circling the Earth on this mathematical model, only works if the Earth is round, well, sort of round. Either way, my colleague works with GPS and still thinks the Earth is flat. He's either really dumb or I will lose my house if we had to play poker.
1. I think I'm gonna do a cross-country road trip to Africa someday. No one ever does it and I want to be one of the few, spoken by a high schooler with poor education, Texas. 2. Turn the lights off, they are sucking up all of the warm air. Girl really believed electronics and fire actually absorbed heat and that's how they became hot to touch, subsequently lowering the temp around it. I used to work in a grocery store and this elderly woman said, 25 cents a pound. I can get them 4 pounds for $1 at Safeway.
Had a friend in high school, her name started with an E, she was wearing a necklace that was just the letter E. Ditzy mean girl wannabe in that class looks at her necklace and says haha E for idiot. That adult woman who talked about the sun shutting off at night. She was the safety rep at our company.
Tide comes in, tide goes out, you can't explain that.
For the longest time, my roommate thought Africa was one country. He also thought Sudan was located in Asia. This was well over 10 years ago. Still takes the cake. I refuse to be an organ donor because I'm gonna need those, to which I replied, you know you'd be dead right. She doubled down, I don't care, I'd still need them. They should make murder illegal. Is Spanish a dialect of Chinese? Knew a guy who hated cucumbers. Had an almost violently moral hatred towards them. But he loved pickles. It wasn't until he was well into adulthood that he found out what pickles were made from and proceeded to have a crisis of faith.
I used to work with a husband and wife. Absolute nightmare. Would never recommend allowing a married couple to work together, and they were as thick as two short planks. One of their aunties was elderly and seemed to struggle with everyday things. Their solution to this was that they needed power of attorney. This wouldn't have been so stupid if they said it once, but it was repeated daily for months. No one bothered to correct them because they were incredibly aggressive and toxic. I often wonder what they thought power of attorney actually was and what they would have done once they wielded such power.
Overheard two guys in line talking about how George Harrison was a one-hit wonder. I sold a lawnmower for my techno dad. He dropped it off on a Saturday. I listed it Sunday. Sold it on Monday. He came back the next weekend and the lawnmower was gone. I told him I put it on Facebook Marketplace Sunday, gone on Monday. His reply was, Facebook is open on Sundays?
I once ordered a dozen donuts only to be told, I'm sorry, we only have them in 6 or 12.
Friend and their ex arguing about the song Santa Claus is Coming to Town. My friend told their 3-4 years old that Santa couldn't really see them when they're sleeping and know when they're awake. Their co-parent flipped out and sent them an email about this, and I swear, as serious as a heart attack, dude starts flipping out saying, then how does he know WHO's naughty or nice? We still laugh about it every holiday season. Here's a good one. I used to work in a machine shop with lathes and mills. We were always told never to try to take off the shaving spurs with the machine running, part spinning or tool spinning. I now do carpentry. However, yesterday I was working with my coworker using a big DeWalt magnet drill to drill some 2-inch holes in some 1-2 steel. As the bit was spinning and cutting the material, he reached over and tried to pull the burrs and shavings off the bit. I immediately stopped the machine. S&D explained that if the bit grabs his glove, he is in for a shitty time. He told me it's fine, I've done this plenty of times. Not 5 minutes goes by, he repeats this and his glove is ripped off, his hand gets shredded by metal burrs and shavings. Moral of the story is, even if you've done something thousands of times, it takes that one time to fuck you for life. I once encountered someone who insisted that Britney Spears invented electronic dance music. Not popularized. Not revolutionized. Invented.